Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 45 of the Hardly Millennial podcast, where we are young, dumb, and full of
opinions.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are at episode 45. That is 5 away from 50.
Whoa.
Almost at the 50 mark, man.
That's crazy, dude.
I know, dude.
That's 90%.
90%.
Of the way to 50.
50 days and 50 days since we launched.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah. 50
man.
Days,
we made one every day.
50 days into Hardly Millennial.
Whew.
So, as always, guys, my name is Adam Hansen.
I'm Matthew Lynn. What's going on, everyone?
And today we thought we would start by talking about just what's really big in the news right now. And that was they finally closed the Russian collusion investigation on Trump and concluded that there was no collusion.
Daddy T did not collude, apparently.
Apparently. I mean, 2 years of an investigation. You think we would have found something, right?
Dude, they tried. They tried really hard. We, the country. I don't know. Whoever was trying really, really hard, man.
I know,
and, gave it the old college effort.
The old college effort.
Right? I think at this point, after 2 years and
2 FBI directors.
2 different ones.
Yeah.
You got the pimp daddy of all investigators, right? Mm-hmm. If he can't find anything, man.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Even if Trump did collude, if he really did, apparently he did it so well
that
he's innocent.
Yeah.
He's innocent. So I heard, I haven't really read a lot about it or looked into it or anything, but is the case like done, or I heard that they just weren't going to do any further indictments?
No, so I've read like you just a little bit on it, and there's a couple things that people, just as we thought, the other side's grasping at straws now, saying something was overlooked or something wasn't handled correctly. So I know there was a couple things, like I read somewhere that they got a warrant to be able to wiretap somebody's phone or something like that within Trump's administration.
Okay.
And so people are like, well, what was found on that? And but all of this is basically just people say they want the information from the investigation,
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, fine, but all you're going to see is the same investigation that this guy had to turn in to say that we didn't find anything. But it's almost like people want to go through it themselves. They'll be like, oh, wait, what about this right here?
Right.
What about this?
And the people who ultimately make the decision are already looking at it.
Yeah.
Have already looked at it and say they don't see anything.
Exactly. And at this point, too, it's like you have a lot of people like Ocasio-Cortez, of course, had to say something about it. And
I'm sure.
Was just well, whether Trump, she said something along the lines of whether Trump stays or goes, whether he's impeached or reelected, whatever it is, you can't deny the kind of following that Trump has, hateful following that Trump has developed through his presidency, and it's just bullshit. The other side's just crying.
Just hate talk. That in itself is just hate talk.
Yeah, exactly.
No actual effect or anything being done. Just being an asshole. Just talking shit. But that's really all it is.
But that's what's so sad. It's Congress people talking shit. It's the media talking shit. It's like the news story now isn't that, oh, Trump was found innocent. It was, okay, Trump was found innocent, so what's our next move, everybody?
Yeah, so what went wrong? Somebody must have done something wrong.
Exactly. And it's come on.
I'm pretty sure in the country, once you get brought to court for something, if you're found innocent, they can't bring you to court for that same thing ever again.
Right, double jeopardy.
Right? Yeah. Isn't that a thing? Even as a person, me and you, if you get accused of something, even if you really did do it,
right?
If the court finds that you didn't and they say you're innocent,
they can't bring you back to court. Not for that.
Not for the exact
issue.
same thing. It'd have to be something worded a little differently, or whatever.
Or taking place at a different time.
So even if they release this report and some genius in his mom's basement goes through it and finds there it is, he's guilty, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he was found innocent.
Exactly.
So whether or not it's right or wrong at this point, it's over.
Yes.
It's literally a case of move on.
And that's what I think. At this point, all the the backlash I'm seeing in regards to it, and maybe this is natural. Maybe it's something that'll blow over in a week as far as the backlash
yeah, it's a great
is
news
concerned.
story right now. Yeah,
but just as you said, everybody just needs to move on.
it's over, dude. It's the court decided.
And again, I still haven't seen anything within Trump's presidency that just screams Nazi or screams racist or screams sexist. I haven't seen him pass anything that says black people can't do this or Mexicans can't do this or
I haven't. I think that you can find anything that you look hard enough for.
Right.
You can put together pieces in any way to make it into a story. Mm-hmm. But I think he hasn't done anything that he didn't very much say he was going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's definitely no left balls coming out of you know what I mean, right field or anything.
Right.
Left balls from right field.
Curve balls.
So in reality, right, they're not going to let it go because there's so much money involved and all this stuff. So what do you think is going to happen next? Are they going to investigate Mueller now?
I mean, I think the media is definitely going to push for something like that.
Right, that would be the next step, right?
Yeah, I mean, whether it actually happens or not is another story. But I mean, I think they've already been talking about investigating Mueller because they were saying that the timing of it wasn't correct.
Something about the
Attorney General.
Attorney General changed at around the same time that these findings were put out.
Yeah.
That there's no collusion and whatnot. So I'm sure that the next logical step for against Trump would be to investigate Mueller now and see did he in fact get persuaded in any way, or was there anything that changed, or
and if they end up doing that, and if they do that and then Trump gets reelected in 2020, which I think he will.
I honestly, as it stands right now, I think he will.
Yes, then I feel like they're just going to ride this Russian collusion train until he's no longer president. Because what's going to happen is they're going to do an investigation on Mueller then. That's going to take a while. And then whatever happens with that, it's not going to be the end. Then 2020 will roll around. Trump will win again. And they'll go, oh, well, different time, different election. Time to reopen this collusion
Make sure
case.
that there's no collusion in this one.
Yeah.
So you know what that worries me the most for? Is because I agree. I think that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So normally when a side accuses a person of something over and over and over, and there continues to be little to no evidence, and they keep accusing that side over and over and over.
It's crying wolf.
It's crying wolf, but more so it's trying to keep attention away from something else.
Yes.
Is what I'm worried about.
Yes.
So I'm very worried of what's really going on actually in the real picture. What are these people into that they may not want to come to the surface?
Yeah.
Meaning, what are some of the people who are more left, who are on the train of impeach Trump, get him out of there?
Right.
They don't have anything on him. So if you're constantly trying to grasp to get something on someone, it makes me think that maybe you did something that was wrong.
Yeah.
And that this person could possibly call you out on it and they won't go down with you. So I'm not saying one side is better than the other, really. I'm just saying, what did they do? Why are they so worried about keeping the attention on Trump?
Well, and I agree with you, and I don't even think it's something intentional, right? So I don't think the media is saying let's keep talking about Trump so that they can't see what's happening over here. But I think that is a result of what's happening. I remember I went to the gym once with Justin, and the gym has all those TVs up, right?
Yeah.
And they have different news stations playing on a few of them, and regardless what the news station was or what bias the news station held, every single one of them, every time we went, was just, and at the time we were going every day, and every single time it was just Trump, 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 Trump.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I get it, but usually
there's got to be other stuff happening in the world, right?
In the world, yeah.
There has to be.
And the things they were even reporting on sometimes was, I can't tell you how many times, specifically with CNN, I can't tell you how many times I saw little comments at the bottom about tweets, about Trump tweeted this, or sometimes it wasn't even Trump, sometimes it was somebody else. But it's like, are we to the point where what people post on Twitter is newsworthy now to fill an entire hour?
It worries me. It worries me because it means they want the attention on that rather than something else that probably they could get in trouble for. Usually if you're trying to not get in trouble, you don't want to shed light on what you're doing.
So did you hear about something big that's happening in South Africa right now, speaking of taking media attention off?
South Africa? No, not recently. What's up with them?
So there's this, a friend was telling me about this, and apparently there's this group in South Africa right now, I think dubbing themselves the Yellow Jackets or something like that.
Okay.
But they are like a militia of like black people, and they're doing something now where they're starting to like really crack down on white people. So there's been reports of white people going to concentration camps.
Bro, wasn't that apartheid? Didn't they already have a big thing about that one? Isn't that what that was?
Yeah.
Or am I totally insane and calling that the wrong thing?
So you're correct. There was apartheid, but that doesn't mean that the racism back and forth didn't go away.
It's resurfacing real bad again right now.
Well, it's resurfacing, but it's very opposite to maybe what it was, 15 years ago. Whereas where it was maybe black people that were being like pushed aside, now it's white people are being pushed aside.
Oh, interesting.
So I saw a documentary.
There's a lot of white people in South Africa, by the way.
It's pretty 50-50 over there.
It is. It's okay.
Yeah.
So of the African countries, it's one of the more white ones. There's more white people there than really any other African country.
Because they used to be owned by Britain.
They were a colony. Yeah. Okay, all right.
And I saw a documentary about a year ago where somebody went over there, just some reporter, but they went over there and the whole thing they were investigating was just like how life is now in South Africa after the apartheid. And he interviewed black people and white people. Specifically, there was a rich black person that he interviewed within whatever the main city is. I think it's Johannesburg.
I think you're right, yeah.
And they had super pompous attitude. He drove this really nice car, wore these like designer watches and everything, had a good job. But this reporter was asking him just in regards to the apartheid and how it's affected like business and things like that. And this guy even admitted that if there is a white guy and a black guy going for the same job, the black guy is always going to get it.
Oh,
they're not
really?
going to. Yeah, this guy was flat out honest and like that's how it works here. And then they went to where like how we have like ghettos here that are predominantly black people. Well, they have ghettos there that are predominantly white people, but they look like trailer parks, right?
How weird.
So he went to go visit one of the trailer parks and he was interviewing a bunch of white people there who were saying like they used to have, whatever good job or they were making a decent living. And then once the apartheid happened, they all got fired and got shoved into these like ghettos.
Wow.
These like lower.
You see, folks, white people aren't fucked up. Human beings are just a little bit fucked up.
Human beings are fucked up.
Regardless, whichever side is more dominant is going to do it to the other side.
It just
happens.
It all just depends on the situation, And in this case, it's the black people doing it to the white people. Yeah. But going back to what we were talking about
that's
with media.
That's not going to end well, bro. No. That's going to become an issue.
But going on what we were talking about with the media, where's the reporting on that? We're so busy talking about Trump and this Russian collusion hoax and shit that we're totally missing out on everything happening in the world.
Dude, you used to hear about Saudi Arabia and OPEC and the oil going on and you used to hear about China. Remember China?
Yeah.
When they were doing shit and they were going to end the world real soon and it was going to be crazy. That doesn't matter anymore, apparently. Nope. No more
Trump.
China.
Just Trump.
Israel, they used to shoot rockets at people and get rocket shot. And almost every day there was shit. Apparently that doesn't matter anymore. And not talking about it.
And it's so funny how you've seen this like switch. Because I feel like there was a time where people were, and we just talked about this a little bit the other day. There was a time where we talked about, hey, we need to help us first before we go out and worry about what the other countries and what other people are doing, right? And now I feel like it was more of the liberal side that was saying, let's go out and help everyone. And it was more the conservative side that's saying, no, let's focus on what's happening here.
I think on average, yeah, you probably, yeah.
But now I feel like you've seen a switch where you have people with more conservative values like myself who maybe, I'm not saying go out there and help everybody else, but I'm at least saying I want to know what's going on everywhere else so I can make that decision, you know? And then you have the liberal side now that's sitting there and say, well, let's focus on what's happening here, but they've done it in such an extreme way that we've just forgotten about the rest of the world. And that's going to bite us in the ass at some point.
Do you think that Trump does have some merit then when he says that the issue is the media? Since the beginning, since he's gotten elected, he hasn't been friendly towards the media at any point.
Well, and I think he is very correct. But the thing is, I think a lot of people, when they hear that, they think, oh, you just think that because you're president now and they're talking about you.
Yes.
But even when Obama was in office, I felt that was the case.
I think that actually Donald Trump, like the human being, like actually the dude Donald Trump, might really have an issue with the way the media is run in the country. Whether he's right or wrong, I don't think that it's even like a presidential thing for him.
Right.
I think that the media has always bothered him and always not been run the way that he would like it to be run.
Yeah.
And I think he's always had issues with it.
And I think he's right to do so.
I think he has a lot of correct ideas about it, that it has gotten a little bit out of control.
Well, and I think that's why, too, platforms like podcast have really blown up within the last couple of years.
You think they're kind of the new news?
Yeah.
We're the new radio. We've said that before.
And even if you do like listening to the news, at some point, it gets daunting to just listen to people yell at each other.
Yeah.
They'll have 4 people on sometimes with 4 different windows, on one screen and say, okay, you all have 7 minutes to tell us your point.
And everyone just fights for who can say words louder.
And then after that 7 minutes is over, they report on something else with Donald Trump, and then they do another 7 minutes of that.
And in between, there's lots and lots of commercial time so they can make money.
Exactly.
Because that's the most important thing to them.
So I think truly, whether you with whatever side of the fence you sit on, I think people are truly just getting exhausted.
So do you think something like along the lines of like Philip DeFranco and his news show that he does has more value in that there's actually more information there than watching something like CNN or Fox?
Well, not Philip DeFranco specifically, because he focuses a lot more on like YouTube news. He just visits like main
but
stuff.
Something his style that focused on the
lines.
news.
So like one person out there is Ben Shapiro.
Okay, there you go. That's a good example.
And he does a podcast every like other day, I think. And same thing. He just says, here's what's happened in the news, and then he talks about it.
Ben Shapiro's the guy who will stand up in front of the crowds of college kids and let the like social justice warriors stand up one at a time and do their best to change his opinion. He's like, seriously, do your best.
Yeah.
And every single time that I've seen it, and I've watched a lot of these, every single time they end up speechless.
Yeah.
The kids in the audience are speechless.
Because that man is always prepared.
He's really fucking actually smart.
Oh,
he graduated top of his class. He went to a very good school. I'm not sure which one. I hesitate to say which one he went to.
I don't know which one either.
I do know, I actually found out last night from Justin that he graduated top of his class. He has a crazy fucking IQ. Like, the dude actually is an intelligent human being.
He's
whether you
super
believe
smart.
or agree with him or not. And one thing I've noticed with him, and probably a lot of independent content makers, is that they're less emotional and they're more into actual numbers and facts. As someone like Shapiro is talking, he won't just say, for an example, this isn't true, but he won't just say, Wisconsin has the lowest unemployment rate.
Right.
He'll say there's only 13,000 people in Wisconsin that are unemployed compared to over 7 million on average in every other state. Like, he actually gives you the numbers to prove it. He doesn't just make the statement.
And then he'll go, here's why. And then he'll just
Yes.
cite statistic after statistic after statistic.
And then he'll be quiet for a moment, and he'll give the person a moment of quiet to
Right.
give a rebuttal, and they usually can't do it because
Yeah.
they don't have any actual numbers or facts to go off of.
'Cause
They're
it's
just
all-
emotional about it.
All driven off of emotion, and that's a very dangerous way to form an opinion. And something like Ben Shapiro that I really appreciate also, that I wish more people in that kind of spectrum would do, is Ben Shapiro has always been very honest of how, he's Jewish. He's a very religious man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a very religious
That's
man.
interesting.
Yeah, like
and he does not let that sway his views on things. Let me tell you what.
Exactly. And I'm talking about extreme. Like, I think he remained celibate until he was
he's
married.
really
the
super
whole
religious.
But he's always been very good.
I'm shocked to hear that.
See, and that's exactly
I'm
why.
shocked to hear
Because he
that.
doesn't let his religious beliefs get in the way of
Of
like
his political views. and
exactly.
That is, I have actually more respect for him now than I did before. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, super religious.
When you listen to the guy talk, you would never think that he is a religious person. You would think he may actually be totally atheist.
Yeah.
Because
Well-
he doesn't have any real regard in his political beliefs for that kind of thing.
Right. Well, and if you watch videos where people ask him things that are maybe more opinion based, maybe opinions that he formed because of his religion, he'll always lead with that, and he'll say, "Well, I'm a devout Jewish man, so I believe in this and this and this." But he'll still go, "But here is why," and then statistic, and he'll list those, and he'll say that there are some things he just doesn't vote on because he doesn't have an opinion. Like, I think like the marijuana thing he doesn't vote on because he just doesn't have an opinion about it,
I don't think you should have to vote on everything.
Yeah.
I think that you should be able to say, I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we need more people like Ben Shapiro out there who sit there and just say, here's what happened.
They can put their emotions aside.
Yeah. Now, one thing that does bother me about Ben Shapiro that maybe I would like to see more of kind of a Philip DeFranco in him come out is Philip DeFranco is really good about saying, here's what happened, here are the facts, and then like the last 3 minutes of his video, he'll say, here's what I think about that.
Right.
Whereas Ben Shapiro, I've listened to his podcast a few times, and he'll give the facts and everything, but then he'll go, no, this is stupid. You can't, and I think he
Very
gets a little
opinionated.
too opinionated.
See, I haven't listened to his actual podcast. I've
Yeah.
only watched the videos of his debates. So, yeah, that would be kind of nice to maybe see him be a little bit less aggressive in that way.
Because I think everybody just gets stuck in the rut where they, pick a side and then they just feel like they have to defend that side, till the end. And I think Ben Shapiro even
Right.
gets stuck in that also.
I do think that it's easier to have that mentality, though, of that's wrong, this is wrong, listen to me, when you really have the math to back it up.
That's true.
Like, he is actually 98% sure that he's totally right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's very confident in saying, no, you're not understanding it. I understand it just fine.
Right.
And then here's why. He can explain it.
That's very true, yeah.
So, yeah, some people are just gifted with being able to hold a lot of knowledge in their head and a lot of numbers, and they can just spit it out.
And the thing is, you've heard some of Ben Shapiro's videos and stuff like this. And Ben Shapiro is somebody who's been banned from colleges from speaking because of
really?
his quote-unquote alt-right views, right?
Ooh,
Or
I don't
there's-
like that.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to do
exactly.
that.
Exactly,
But free speech gets super hairy when you're on private property.
Yes, exactly. But that's the argument going on right now with universities too, is we allow everybody from this side to come speak at it, but we don't allow anybody from this side to come speak at the colleges. And at that point, when you're trying to mold young minds, that's when I think
Well, college is very much about, like you said, molding young minds.
Yes.
And I think each college, some more than others, really do have an opinion about the world. Like the
Yes.
actual entity, the college, thinks a certain way. And they prefer the majority of their students to think the same way.
Right.
And if you don't, they're there to teach you why you're wrong and why you should think that way.
Yeah.
It gets a little tiny bit brainwashy in some of the colleges.
Yeah. Well, even just some of the major things that people are, majoring in anymore, right?
Beautifully done, Adam. Fucking nailed it. That was great.
But things like gender studies and there's some other outlandish ones out there. But these are
Gender studies?
Yeah.
Isn't their own? Well,
that's something
shit,
you can.
I almost put my foot in my mouth.
But those are things that you can actually get degrees in. And everything now. It's
apparently there's a lot of genders to study these days. So I was going to say, aren't there only 2? But shame on me.
Shame on you,
There's many more than
there's
that, apparently.
74.
Oh, there's a lot.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe they'll study hard enough and get to the bottom of it and figure out the actual answer on all that.
Yeah, who knows?
It was never an issue until a few years ago. It became a huge fucking
word.
issue.
And then...
You want to just delve into that for a moment, Adam? You want to go there?
It just bothers me, man.
I think it bothers a lot of us.
So much.
I think it bothers everyone except for the few people it doesn't bother.
That's it right there. You're talking about, first of all, a lot of this, I think, is just teenage angst. So I think it's a lot of young people coming out and saying, I identify with this, But when they're 30, they're not going to hold that opinion anymore, right? So that's my first guess about it.
You got your flagships. You got your Caitlyn Jenners.
Sure.
Okay, there's 1 or 2 of those people. Because I know you're in the comments right now typing away.
But the thing is, even somebody like Caitlyn Jenner.
You're nailing it, Adam.
I'm not even meaning
You're on
to.
fire.
It's just happening.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner. She's not even somebody who's even claiming to be any of the 74 genders. She's claiming to just be a woman.
And
right?
you know what? I'm okay with that, actually.
I'm okay.
I can totally
too.
accept that.
If you come up to me and if I call you a man and you say, hey, just so you know, I identify as a woman, I give you those 2. I will give you man or woman.
We even called Caitlyn Jenner her and
Yes.
she right now. It was not a big deal at all.
Yes.
Because that's how she wants to be called.
But when you start getting into this, I'm neither a man or a woman or non-binary. I'm something totally different.
No, you're not.
And then you're like, call me
you're
Z,
confused.
call me Zay. And it's like, no, sorry.
Oh, Z and Zay.
Were some of the ones. And there's other ones too. That was just one of the first ones.
I don't think that it is disrespectful for someone to refuse to call someone else Z or Zay.
Me neither.
Because if you choose to be a Z or Zayer, okay, and you identify as a Z, that's fine. You have the right to do that. But you have to understand, I have the absolute right to think that that is silly.
Right.
Okay, I'm not hurting you in any way. I'm not attacking you, but I think it's very, very silly. And you don't have the right to tell me I must call you something.
Exactly.
Okay, if you don't want to call me a he and a him, you don't have to do that either. Granted, you're kind of a dick. And I guess I'm kind of a dick if I refuse to call someone a Z or a Zay. What's the big deal, right? So it's a little bit of a dick move, but I don't think that it's wrong.
Right.
Or against any kind of rule. I don't know. I'll do a lot of things to appease people. I really will. I'll go the extra mile. I want people to be comfortable.
Right.
But at that point, you're now making me start to feel a little bit uncomfortable about the whole thing.
So I was just going to bring that up too about the feeling uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm in a public space or anywhere when I'm not at work, right?
Okay.
So if I'm out in a restaurant or a bar with friends or whatnot, and somebody wants to tell me, oh, refer to me as Z or Zay or whatever, I have the right to tell you, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
Right. Absolutely.
We can go our separate ways from here.
Absolutely.
But where I start to feel uncomfortable is where somebody who, and again, this is me judging people off of looks, but somebody who comes in who looks like they identify as neither a man or a woman and something else entirely, right?
Right.
Because I'm somebody at my job where if a man comes in, I'll say, here you go, sir, here, whatever it is.
Brother, how's it going, bud? Whatever.
Woman that comes in, dear, darling.
Hey, hon, how's it going?
So
whatever.
then I feel uncomfortable simply just because now when I have somebody who walks in like that, who I feel like I don't know what to refer to them as, I feel like now I have to tiptoe around what I say to this person and how I say it, because God forbid if I let darling slip or sir slip.
You've offended them.
Exactly.
So now you're walking on eggshells. That's not right.
And I know to an extent I'm making assumptions that this person may react negatively to whatever it is I call them.
Because you've had cases where that has happened. That's been your experience in the past.
Exactly.
So you assume it will be the experience again.
Exactly. So at one point, who's supposed to feel more comfortable than the other? You know what I mean?
I would say that it's that person's responsibility to make the people around them feel more comfortable.
Yes.
Because it's utilitarian. Mm-hmm. There's more of them than there are of you.
Yes.
You still get to be who you are, and you cannot be harmed or hated or discriminated on, but it's your duty to make the room comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And here's an example, a personal example of myself.
Okay.
I have Tourette's, okay? And I have not vocal Tourette's, but I have twitches that I do, and most of them are in my face. So I nod my head a lot, I twitch a lot, especially, if I'm out drinking or something, it can really get kind of wild. I can do a lot of twitching.
Right.
It is not everyone who I'm with. It's not their responsibility to ignore it. It's not their responsibility to ask me, hey, are you okay?
Right.
I feel that it is my responsibility before it even becomes a stigma for me to tell everyone, hey, I got Tourette's, guys, and make a little joke out of it. Make people break the ice about it and understand that I might be the first person someone's ever met who has Tourette's. So they might say something kind of fucking ignorant.
Right.
And I can't really get offended about that because they're learning. They're trying.
Exactly.
Same deal with this gender thing. You might be the first person someone has met who doesn't identify as him or her. They don't know how to conduct themselves. So we might say some ignorant shit.
Right.
And you kind of just have to assume that it comes with the territory a little bit.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. And I think there are too many people out there that automatically respond with anger or yelling or whatever it is, getting offended so quickly. Whereas, just as you said, some people are just plain ignorant. Some
They just don't know, dude.
Yeah, they just don't know. So So the way to make if the end goal of this group of people is to be more accepted in society, then you have to be kind and understanding of people's not understanding you.
You have to teach society. Don't shun them for not understanding you. Teach them about you. Show them that you are acceptable.
And the second
not that I'm saying you're unacceptable. You know what I mean?
Right.
I really truly have no actual problem with it.
No.
I don't think that they should be punished or anything. They're fine. I'm just saying that be a little bit more understanding about the whole thing. You are the one that is acting against the grain of what everyone else is doing. So there's some responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah. And I agree with you. And it really bothers me the kind of climate you see now, because all you're doing is making people hate you. The more you push against people, the more people are going to want to just naturally push back. And
no one wants to be told that they're wrong.
Yeah, and they may have been very willing to accept you or call you whatever it is that you wanted to be called. But the second that somebody calls you something you don't, and if your first mode of response is like, excuse me, but I'm a Z or a they, I would rather use the correct pronouns. People just don't want to do that.
They don't want to deal with that. Since we've already gone down this rabbit hole and we're in it, let's just keep going. Do you think that this whole multiple gender thing, the discovering your gender, do you think all that is a fad? Or do you think that that's around to stay now? That's just a people thing now?
I do think it's a fad, but I think it's an important fad to get acceptance later on. So an example I can use is what I experienced in high school among people was there was kind of this weird fad going around of being gay or bisexual.
We're similar in age, and we went
I was
in
gonna say, I don't
different
know if you
cities,
experienced the
and
same thing.
The
but
bisexual thing was very, very big during high school years for me.
And I have many close friends with me now who went through that stage and are very straight, now.
Right.
And so but the reason why that fad existed was because that was very much in kind of the early stages of gay acceptance, right? It's okay for gays to be married. Don't use gay as an insult, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so I think that fad then went away, but it changed into something much more as this generation got older. So I think that's what's happening now. I think it's a fad amongst a younger crowd, but it's going to turn into a movement.
Oh my God, I just drowned in my coffee. Jesus, I'm so sorry. I literally, Jake took way too big of a gulp and drowned. I'm good. Continue.
Okay, but anyway. And so I think it's going to turn into a movement of acceptance later on, maybe a way that's not different genders, maybe it's something different, but I think it always transforms into something else.
I wonder, because I agree, I wonder what the thing's going to be, though. It's almost like it doesn't exist yet what the thing is going to be accepted.
Well, I think the problem is the people who have started this fad aren't pinpointing anything.
Right.
So what we've done is, if it focused on like trans people, right, which is kind of where it started.
I would say that you're correct.
If it started and ended with trans people, that would be one thing.
Then we could work for transsexual rights.
Exactly.
But it never stuck with any one thing.
No, they kept going on. And then, so now it became this point where I remember the last time I actually checked on the number, there was like 74 genders listed that you could list yourself as, I think, on Facebook,
It's like society was in this weird fight for gay equality, gay rights, that whole movement. And then enough generations went by and the millennials came around, and really it was I mean, I guess it was a little bit of the Xers, or would it be Y? The ones before us.
The ones for Xers.
It's kind of started with them,
maybe a little
very
bit,
accepting. My older sister, 10 years older than us, Justin's age.
Yeah.
And then during our days, the millennials is really when it took off that you could just be gay. It's not a big deal. No one cares anymore.
Yes.
We live with gay people. We love gay. It's not a big deal anymore. So they got their rights, right? They even almost went so far as Obama almost signed an executive order to make it the law of the land, that the whole country, it was legal for gay people to get married.
Right.
And they stopped because they said, no, that's against the Constitution. The states have to decide.
No, that happened. That went
I don't
through.
think that they actually signed the executive order, did they?
No, I think they did.
Because you can still have states where it's illegal.
Well, I think now you can vote against it being not being legal.
It didn't become American law, though. It didn't go into the Constitution.
No. It didn't go into the Constitution. No.
Okay, so the states still have their sovereignty.
Right, but I don't think anybody's voted against gay marriage at this point in any of the states. That hasn't happened yet. The whole point is very widely accepted. Yes.
So the movement was basically over. They won. They got it. And it's almost like people weren't ready for the movement to be over.
Right.
So they were like, well, we're going to restart it up again. Because basically, transgender, Zers, all these different gender things, we already fought for all that. We did the gay rights movement. That would all, and I understand I'm using the wrong word. If you're a transsexual or bisexual, you're not gay or whatever.
Right.
But the whole encompassing cloud of everything that is not heterosexual has already been accepted.
Yes.
You're in society. What more are you fighting for?
And I agree with you. and honestly, I think where it all got very gray was the conversation about the bathrooms, right?
Oh, I remember the bathroom thing.
Because here's what ended up happening, and this is why I didn't even understand this was a mode of argument in the first place. Yeah,
you're right.
Because what happened was, now first of all, it shouldn't have been anything to begin with, because I have definitely gone into a man's bathroom before, and I have definitely seen somebody in there who looks like they were a woman at one point, but at this point you could tell they were they clearly went through whatever changes they need to become a man, and and I was in a bathroom with a bunch of other men also, and nobody was castrating this person.
Right. You're not really in there for that.
Yeah.
You're kind of just in there to pee and get out.
It really just became, yeah. So really, the normal was if you look like a girl, you went into the woman's bathroom, and if you looked like a boy, you went into the man's bathroom.
Right.
But now what you had people that look like you and I, who, if you look at us, we both clearly look like men.
Yes.
And you had people like you and I going, well, I identify as a woman. I would like to use that bathroom.
I think that's still the rule. I think that did become the law, didn't it?
Well, some places passed it. So I know Target, for example, passed a policy saying that you can use whatever bathroom
I'm pretty
you want
sure in
now.
some you can still do that, dude. Just go to whatever. You know my solution to that? I solved the whole thing the next day. And no one will ever know because I'm Matt Lynn and there's 16 people who listen to this. But I solved it the next day, guys. Make every fucking bathroom a one-person bathroom.
Yes,
and then you never have an issue ever again.
Yes.
And quite frankly, we're all a lot more comfortable. Wouldn't you much rather be able to lock the door and be in the bathroom for a minute by yourself?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
I agree with you.
Zero issues. Anyone can use it. There you go.
I think soon after the debate even happened, that I think that's even what the UK was talking about. I think the UK came out and was like, why are you guys doing this? Because I think the UK, they're all just unison bathrooms.
Dude, the concept of peeing next to 6 other dudes is fucking weird anyway. Yeah. I would much rather wait in line and then go when you're done. I can hold it for the 2 minutes it takes to have the 30 seconds by myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even at the bar. Like, just get up and go pee 2 minutes before you would have before.
Yeah.
And the perk is you get it all to yourself.
Exactly.
I've never liked stalls or urinals are fucking weird as shit to me, dude.
You just do the
I won't use them to this
bathroom.
day. I'm 26 years old. I've used a urinal maybe 3 times in my life.
Really?
Swear.
Just never been your thing?
Fuck urinals. They're weird.
They are a
Just
little weird.
peeing on the wall? You're not allowed to do that. It's so weird to me. We just pee into this porcelain wall thing with arms on it. And then it just... Fuck that. I'll use the toilet.
Just use the toilet,
I just want the
right?
stall. Yeah.
To be fair, as I've gotten older, I've been more like that now, where I'm just like, if there's a stall available, I'll always just use the stall. Just like,
Okay,
fuck
I'll
it.
answer this question if you answer this question, Adam. It's going to be an embarrassing one.
Okay.
When you were a little kid, little boy, okay, like 6, little, were you the little boy who pulled his pants all the way down to his ankles to pee?
So I pulled my pants. So I actually had a reason for doing this when I was younger.
Oh, really?
Though. Yeah.
Okay.
So I pulled my pants all the way down, but I didn't pull down my underwear. And the reason why I didn't was because I had Batman underwear. So I always wanted to show off Batman on my fucking ass.
That's amazing.
So I would constantly be told not to do it that way, but I'd just be like, oops, look at my Batman
God,
underwear.
That's great.
So that's why I did. I was always trying to show off my superhero underwear.
That's amazing. I did it just because I was worried of peeing on myself.
Really?
Yeah, I was a full pants all the way downer until I was like 12.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I think when I first started doing that when I was younger, it was initially like I was, because you'd be at a urinal thing with like there'd be 2 urinals on either side or whatnot. So you'd be with other 5-year-olds, and everybody else was just pulling down their pants
All the way down.
So you're just like, all right,
I don't know if
this
girls
is how
know
you
about
do it.
this. There's a stage in every young man's life when they're a little boy where you pull your pants down to your ankles to pee.
Yep.
But you don't sit. You still stand and pee.
Yep.
You just pull your pants all the way down.
You're just like, whatever. It's
weird.
No shame.
Yeah, we just don't understand until we get older.
Well, when you think about it, when you're growing up and when you're first potty trained, I mean, you don't really ever see a urinal, I think, until you go to school. Maybe if your mom takes you to the bathroom, when you're at the supermarket or something.
Urinals are just so weird to me. They're like an alien thing.
They're just... What really bothers me about urinals is just how easy it is for somebody next to you to
touch your butt.
To touch your butt, to peek, whatever it is.
There's no privacy in the men's bathroom, dude.
No, there's
none
not.
at all. They literally just pee on the wall.
Women sometimes have a fucking couch in their bathrooms. So the place I work, the 2 bathrooms are side by side.
You have lovely bathrooms where
and
you
I'll
work,
see
too.
people, women walk into the women's restroom, and right there at the fucking door, you just see a fucking couch with little throw pillows and everything on it.
Why the fuck would they need a couch?
I don't know. I'm sure it has something to do with like mothers nursing or something. But the point is, they have a fucking couch.
What's strange to me is that to get to the bathroom where you work, you have to go through a very specific hallway. that is kind of out of the way. You have to seek out the bathroom where you work.
A little bit, yeah.
And on your way to the bathroom, there's like a little waiting room in front of it with couches.
Yes.
There's literally like 6 couches in there.
Yes.
So they need another one in the bathroom?
Yeah.
There's one right outside the bathroom.
Yeah. And then there's one in the women's bathroom.
So weird.
I know.
So weird.
Like I said, I think
what are they doing in there?
Like I said, I think its purpose is for women nursing, but like I still want a fucking couch in my bathroom. I want to be able to just sit down and
Hell
chill.
yeah.
Like whatever.
We have an ottoman in our bathroom.
That's true.
At the Millennial house. We have a full, it's like an old school Gucci, like 50s ottoman too. It's nice.
That's true.
Yeah. So, how old were you when you discovered that there was a hole specifically designed into your boxers for you to pee out of?
Oh, I don't remember.
Did you catch on to that quick?
No.
I was in my 20s.
No,
I was definitely like early 20s when I figured that out.
I think I was definitely a teenager when I figured it out, and then after I figured it out, I was like I tried doing it like getting in the habit of using that for a while, and then I was just like, well, fuck it. I've been doing it this way my entire life, so I'm just gonna keep doing it this way.
So I've dubbed it the pee hole.
The pee
That's
hole.
what I call.
It's basically
I call
what it is.
And I love it. Ever
Yeah.
since I've discovered the pee hole
Use it all
at
the
like
time?
22, I don't think I've ever not used it. It's
No?
the greatest invention ever.
I just couldn't-
minimal effort to peeing.
I just couldn't get in the habit of using it. Like I tried,
it's
I tried to be
fantastic.
very conscious about always using it and stuff like that. Because like, okay, well, I mean, it's here. I might as well use it. But
I will specifically buy pants, like pajama pants, that have the buttons for the
So that you can use
so
it?
that both layers
Right.
of my bottom are covered with garments that have pee holes.
I will specifically use it.
What an
if I'm-
eloquent way to get around it.
I will specifically use it if I'm like dressed up. Like if I'm wearing a suit or something, I have a bunch of shit
Oh, yeah, I
tucked
think that's
in.
what it was
you
invented
know,
for.
like that's when I'll use it. But like, no, if I just got like jeans on or whatnot, what the fuck ever.
Oh, no, I love it. I think it's
Yeah.
great. Whoever invented it, you had a great day when you invented that.
You ladies out there are learning a lot about.
Do you
some
think
of the
girls
secrets
know
of
that?
bed.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't think they
no.
have that in theirs.
I mean, maybe mothers do because I
Well,
feel like at
moms
some
do,
point, you know.
clearly.
But no, but like.
Yeah, we
women-
got holes in our underwear, guys. Only in the
Just
front,
so you
not in the back.
know.
There's no poop hole.
You're learning a
That's
lot about
genius,
men
though.
and the way that we go to the bathroom.
Bro, that's $1
and-
million idea.
What? The pee hole?
The poop hole.
The poop hole?
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel like it'd get messy real quick. What if you have like
Well-
explosive diarrhea?
Well, you wouldn't use it in every scenario.
But just to have.
I mean,
it
if you
for
have a
those-
bladder infection,
how
you don't
do
use
you-
the pee hole.
But how would you know though? Like I have definitely had poops
Oh, I
where
know.
I'm like,
I know. So
I'm
when
feeling
I'm
it.
walking in the door, I know what it's going to be.
do you?
Yes.
Oh, I have some where I'm
My
just like,
body
oh,
speaks to me.
I have some where I'm just like, oh, I have to poop. And then I sit there, it's like, just like
Really?
a fucking machine
No,
gun.
I usually know well in advance. I'm like, up. Sometimes I'll put it off because I'll be like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I can't go. Sometimes it'll morph too. If you hold it in longer, it'll morph into a different kind.
That's true.
So it's like missing the bus. You know, a different bus will come around eventually.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's true. You know. Oh, poop. See, we're all the same. We all poop. You know, whatever
girls,
gender.
Girls don't poop.
Oh, that's right. Girls don't poop or
That's
fart.
been scientifically proven. Girls fart.
Girl.
Oh, they fart. They got nasty farts. Don't let them fool you. They don't poop.
That's the time you always know you've gone far enough, and like when you're in a relationship with a girl, when that girl finally reaches a point where she farts in front of you, whether it's an accident or not. Not pooping in front of you, farting in front of you.
Although you do get to that point eventually. For any of you who have ever lived with anyone, you
know.
already know that. If you haven't lived with someone yet, a significant other, expect that when you move in with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're going to poop in front of them.
Eventually,
It's going to happen.
It always
Probably the
happens.
next day.
Probably the next day.
You're going to shower together and you're going to poop together.
Oh man, it's so true.
just life.
Though. It is life. It is life. But anyways, so we've talked a lot about pooping in bathrooms and pee
Yes,
holes.
we've digressed greatly.
Digressed greatly. But anyways, going on with like the trans stuff and thing, I think
Jump right back onto that train.
just to at least conclude it, you know, as far as what it's going to turn into, I think if it stuck with the trans thing, it would have been fine, and I think you would have gone whatever movement you were planning out of it. But now that we're focusing so much on like everybody can be one of 74 to 1,000 genders, you know,
Jeez,
I
yeah.
think it's just it's going to die out.
I think so too.
It's going to die out, and it's going to be sad because the people that then consider themselves, to be anything aside from the two genders, well, you're going to get exactly what you were fighting to not get. You're going to get, possibly ridiculed or not as accepted in places as maybe you'd like to be because this is the way that everybody decided to go about it.
True.
So it's sad, but...
I mean, I wish them the best. I don't hate on anyone for anything. If that's your flavor, then go for it. Like, I would still be friends with those people. It's not a big deal. They just have to be understanding that I'm not going to call them that.
Yeah. Be understanding, be kind people.
You know what else is interesting, though? On a little side note here before we kind of wrap up. I was reading the news today, and it wasn't the real news, but it wasn't the fake news either. It was like, if you take your phone on the main screen, you swipe to the left.
Right.
I discovered this a few weeks back. There's a whole, your phone will tell you about all the things that you're interested in. Because it keeps track of every fucking thing that you Google and look up.
It's true.
So it'll just remember that, and it'll be like, hey, here's some cool shit going on in the world that's related to what you like. So I'm very into Tech Nine, the rapper. Okay, I listen to Tech Nine a lot. He's great. Strange Music's Tech Nine, because apparently that matters. You have to distinguish that. So I am very into Tech Nine from Strange Music. Okay. Well, the other Tech Nine died today. There was another one. There's a different one.
You never specified who that Tech Nine was.
He's Tech number 9, just with a 9.
Right, but who is he? Or what is he?
So he was called they call him a battle rapper.
Oh, it's still a rapper.
He's a rapper. That's why it was so confusing. So the moral of this whole story, guys, because you're all getting confused. I can feel it through the microphone. I love Tech Nine, and I read an article that said Tech Nine died. And I was like, what the absolute fuck? Because I just saw videos of him. He looks nowhere near death. So I was like, what the hell happened? I'm reading through it, and they're like, we don't know what happened. We found him. He was just dead. There's no harm to his body. We have no idea what's going on. And about 4 or 5 paragraphs into the article, well into the article, they started out by saying, Tech number 9, not to be confused with Tech N9NE from Strange Music. So they waited until the 4th or 5th paragraph to tell me that it wasn't the Tech 9 I was thinking of. It's the one no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, that's not clickbait. I don't know what is.
Dude, I was pissed. I was like, how dare this article lead me so far astray?
What kills me is because I didn't know that this Tech 9, the number 9, I didn't realize that was a rapper, right? I thought
he was
maybe
a rapper.
That was somebody else.
Yeah, no, he was a battle rapper.
So what kills me is what fucking rapper out there was like, I found a really cool name from you, dog. We're gonna name myself Tech 9. Bro, there's already a rapper out there called Tech 9. Yeah, but I'm gonna be Tech and then the number 9.
And they were like, bro, he's already got the number 9 in his name. He's literally spells it Tech N number 9 NE.
They're like, no, man.
He's like, no, I'm just gonna take the letters out of it, bro.
Just the number. Come on. And and nobody knows who that battle rapper is. That fucking news site was just trying to fucking create.
Nobody knows. The only people who know who he is probably people who found him by looking up the other Tech 9, and his video popped up. But that's news for you, folks. Speaking about all the news and all that, your beloved news, sometimes they're clickbaity.
One thing to finish up this conversation here is just to end on a more lighter note, I guess kind of a lighter note. Did you happen to see the trailer for this new movie, Us, yet? The Jordan Peele movie, the new horror movie?
I did, but I do not remember it at all. But I remember that I saw it.
So I just watched it for the first time yesterday.
What'd you think?
And it makes me really want to see it.
Oh, it looked good?
Yeah, well...
Speak about it a little bit. Maybe refresh my memory.
So I constantly have been hearing about it. I just hadn't gotten around to watching the trailer anytime soon. And I finally got around to watching it yesterday. And I found out why the movie is called specifically Us.
Okay.
And it follows this family. So a mom, dad, daughter, son. And all of a sudden they're at their house and they look out the window and it's late at night and they see these 4 people standing there, just standing there looking at them. And they're like, what the hell? And the dad goes out. This is all in the trailer.
Right.
The dad goes out there and is like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then they all kind of like split up, like in a very weird kind of disturbing way. And like the tallest one of them starts walking toward them. And then it cuts to the actual family sitting there on their living room on their couch, and the 4 people there, and the 4 people are all wearing these red jumpsuits, but they're them. They're the family. But they're just like
we don't know where they're from.
A demonized version of the family. So so it would cut to like, so it, like the son of theirs, like on the evil son is like a gimp. Like he's like down on his, all fours and everything. No. And then like the mother character is like sitting on the couch crying, but then the evil mother version is like up on the couch, like smiling and like giggling and stuff like that.
Oh wow, that's creepy.
So, and then there's the dad and then there's the daughter. So
we just know there's copies of everyone that are super creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know why or where or anything else.
Right.
Love it. I want to see it.
I want to see it too.
Want to see it. That sounds amazing.
That's why it's called Us.
I have to know. Well, and it's Peele, so who the fuck knows where it's going to go? It could go anywhere. Does he act in it?
I don't know if he acts in it, but everybody's talking about the ending. Everybody's talking. There's a lot of stir about the ending and how the movie ends.
I wish he acted. Dude is a phenomenal actor.
I know.
He's so good at acting.
I would love to see him play like a villain in a superhero film. I think he would do great, or really just a villain in any film, honestly. I think
he almost plays a female better than a male.
A little bit,
He almost does in any kind of role, which is just great.
Like Megan.
He plays such a good female character in anything.
He does.
The dude is just funny as fuck. He's quick. He knows right when to say the right thing. Like, you can tell he's probably done a lot of improv practice in his life.
A lot of improv, and the fact that he's the one picking up Twilight Zone and then seeing like the trailer for Us and then watching the movie Get Out, you can definitely tell he's like gonna be the Alfred Hitchcock of our time.
Well, as long as he doesn't fuck up. This is the year of Peele for sure.
Yes.
So if he nails it this year, he's the next Spielberg.
Yes.
So I'll just have that career forever.
I hope he does well. Jordan
I hope
Peele,
he does too, bro.
If you're listening, man, big fan, bro.
Big fan. Come on the show sometime. We love you.
We love you. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. We always appreciate our listeners. I hope you enjoyed this bit of a more political discussion.
Yeah.
Just expect as we get closer to the 2020 elections that there's just going to be a little more of these. It's important to talk about.
So far, you guys like them.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, remember you can follow us on all the social media accounts, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebooks. We do have an update coming out for you guys soon. It will be up before April 1st that you can count on. And any final thoughts, Matthew?
We love you guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye.